Good morning. I wanted to, first of all, thank everyone for registering for their IB exams. Your teachers are going to give you some materials to help you get prepped for the IB exams, and I'm going to help to explain some of the materials that will be included in the handouts. So I'll ask for your attention, and your teachers will clarify things beyond this. The first thing that you guys will be getting are a couple personalized sheets. The first is exceptionally important to you, not only for this test session, but for future reference. It's your IB PIN code. Some of you all already have a copy of this because you've gone through the process of uploading coursework using that PIN code. But just keep in mind, guys, that's the way that you're going to access your results. And if you'll notice, the date that your results become available this year is the 6th of July. And ultimately, this is how you'll access your IB results. For future reference, you'll also be using that same PIN code for accessing transcripts and things of that sort, should you want to send your IB transcripts to a university beyond the one that will come automatically with your IB registration this year. So if you're a senior, I'll be collecting that data of where you want me to send your IB results during the examination sessions themselves. So I recommend everybody, first of all, this is confidential. You don't want to make this a public document. And I also recommend that you do something like take a picture of this so that on the 5th of July, when you want to look up your results, or rather this is the 6th, that you don't end up having to call me, because frankly, either calling or emailing me on that date, there's 200 and some kids taking these exams, and I won't get back to you that promptly, and you're going to want to know your results. So don't rely upon me providing you that PIN code in July. Make sure you keep a copy of this safely and someplace where you'll know where to find it. The second thing that's specific to you is a sheet that IB produces that represents your time and date of your examinations. This then will go hand in hand with the colored handout, which shows you exactly where at Watkins Mill to report for your various exam sessions. The thing to remember, guys, is that IB exams have multiple components. So if you're taking the English exam, you have 2 separate examination dates. And if you're taking the math exam, you have 2 separate examination dates and so forth. So pay very close attention to all of the sessions that you're required to attend. On IB exams, if you miss any session, you are disqualified from getting a score. It's especially something to be mindful of if you ordered your exam with a waiver, because if you don't get a score, I can't request that the waiver be paid by the state, and that means that you'll be charged for the exam. So don't be silly and forfeit your exam score by missing a component, spacing out on the fact that you have more than one. Okay. You're also going to be getting a small booklet that shows you an example of an IB answer sheet. The kinds of written answers that you produce on IB exams go in answer booklets that are normal size paper, and I will provide normal size for your teachers to show you as examples. These are miniatures, frankly, that you guys get. But essentially, it gives you an idea of what the IB answer booklets are going to look like. It explains to you how to number the responses that you're making, including skipping a space between questions. Essentially, your answers in IB exams in the May session are scanned, and they want to make clear distinction where you end one question and begin another. And the details that explain that are very clear in here. It also shows you that numeric reading is done by the computer, and it explains carefully how you indicate the number that you're responding to in the boxes, and gives you examples of proper ways and improper ways. So this small booklet will be one for everybody. Just make sure you read through it on your own. You will also be getting a conduct of the examination sheet. This is a IB produced document. You are required to read through it from start to finish. It's a one-pager. It's pretty straightforward. And ultimately, there's a bit of clarification on some of the points on this two-sided document that's called Attendance Procedures for IB Exams. Frankly, this has a lot more than just attendance on it. The attendance part is simple, guys, that however many days you're going to have IB exams, you're going to be counted present / testing, but it's an excused absence from all of your classes in that day. You know, the idea is that if you have an afternoon exam, we want you to miss your morning classes so you can get up and rest and ultimately be prepared. If it's a morning exam, we'd like you to be able to go out and, you know, relax and possibly spend time prepping for another exam in the afternoon. So the idea is that you aren't required to go to your other classes. Having said that, if you rely upon school transportation, you frankly will have to come at the normal time and go to your scheduled classes until the time at which you should be dismissed for your exam. And that's explained on here. If you miss an IB exam, you forfeit the score, and there are no makeups for IB exams. If you have a catastrophic emergency, IB is very generous about that, having said that. So the one thing to do, though, guys, is you have to contact me if anything is amiss. Don't just, you know, let me wonder what's going on. And then secondly, late arrival on your departure sheet is actually kind of a vague statement. It says late arrivals may not be allowed. I have some allowance to let kids start late, and it depends upon the length of the exam at hand. So I'm not going to specify how much time, but ultimately I will tell you that it's important that you report to your test, even if you think you're going to be slightly late, because ultimately I do have the allowance to let you start late in some cases, time dependent. Keep in mind, however, that you will not be given more time if you arrive late, no matter what the reason you arrive late. So again, there are some exceptions to that. If there are, you know, public emergencies, I have the capacity to call IB and give extensions to anybody who's impacted by something outside of their control. But your ride to school is not included in that. And incidentally, guys, one thing that I actually forgot to put on this sheet that I regret, and I'd like you to write it on as soon as you get it, is that you guys need to share your cell phone numbers with multiple members of the course exams that you're going to be taking. Because if we're taking roll and you're not there, I want to be able to, say, hey, can someone please text John and get 3 or 4 people to be able to pull out their phones and have John's contact. Text works better than phone numbers, but if you don't have a cell phone, make sure you share your phone number with someone. Text is just more reliable because we can typically text even if we have a weak signal. But we have to be able to contact you if by chance you're missing when we're expecting you for an exam. So make sure you share that with someone who's also scheduled for the same exams. Keep in mind, guys, if you do have to come to school for instructional, or rather for transportation reasons, it's important that you understand that you have to go to your classes. You can't just be a pack of IB kids sitting in the media center prepping for your exam. You can do that if you're home somewhere or if you're, at Panera, but you cannot do that at school. And remember, if you can't get to school via school transportation, you have to have reliable transportation to get you here at the time that your exam begins. For the most part, I will not let you leave early on exams, so plan on staying for the session that's indicated on the schedule. If you have any questions about that, just come see me independently. Ultimately, guys, some of you eat lunch at school, and if your test is going to run into step and you want to eat lunch at school, let me know at least 2 days in advance, and you can, again, anticipate that looking at the schedule. And I'll make sure that the cafeteria manager gets box lunches for folks that need that, so that you can always count on your school lunch, even if our exams go a little bit late. Last of all, Calculators during exams, you know, there's nothing more sad than kids showing up for IB exams in math and science with no calculator. That's just ridiculous, guys. So please plan on having your own scientific calculator with working batteries so that you can show that you're, you know, ready and committed to take your exam. Ultimately, the final point then is just some preparation advice. You guys can really wrap this up with strength, or you can wrap this up with a, you know, a far less worthy effort. And the best way to get yourself ready for your IB exams is to be in school the remaining days until the exams start, to be attentive, and ultimately, when it comes time for the night before the exam, do not pull all-nighters. You know, the last thing you need on an IB exam morning is to be so tired that you can't formulate a coherent thought. So ultimately, the best thing you could do for yourself is get a good night's sleep and eat a breakfast, you know, eat a meal, be awake and ready to think. Bring your own blue or black pen if you have a preference for a comfortable pen. I have the, you know, standard school issue, but sometimes after you write for hours on end, those standard school issue pens can provide some pain and suffering. So anyway, I'm going to give some information to your teachers as well about all this, and hopefully if you have questions about anything, you can get your teachers to answer those questions. And otherwise, I will be seeing you all starting on the first day of IB exams, and you are always welcome to stop in and ask questions anytime if you have any. Thanks, and have a great Friday. Well, I guess it's Friday for me. I have no idea when you'll be seeing this, so just have a good day.